Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sal Pitera channel, and today we are on the Carnival Glory with the head Maitre D, Stefan, and
hi everyone.
We're going to have a nice discussion with him when we come back in just a second. Welcome back everybody. So this is our last day on board the Carnival Glory, and I have to tell you that the food and beverage department here, from the quality of the food to the head chef taking my son on a tour of the kitchen for his birthday, I mean, the staff here on board has just been extremely accommodating, and the food has been exceptional. And this gentleman here, Stefan, is the guy who runs the show here in the dining room. So if you're going to eat in the main dining room, or even up on the Lido deck, I think you run that as well, correct?
The Lido deck, the room service area, and the employee dining rooms too.
So if you're eating on board, this is the man who's putting it together for you.
Well, to make it more simple and more interesting and fun in the same time, I'm just the guy going around pretending to be busy. Because I don't do anything. The team, they're the ones who get everything else done. They're really, I'm blessed to have an amazing team. They really get everything done to the smallest details, and it even rhymes if you're thinking of it. It ain't easy pretending to be busy.
I can tell you that he's probably given a little too much credit to his team, because I've seen the work that Maitre D's do. So let's talk about that exactly. What do you actually do on board a cruise ship?
Well, it's a complex operation, right? We're talking about a team that varies from a class of ship, varies from 200 to 300 plus team members, right? So that in itself, it's already as busy as it can get. And aside from that, our job consists, besides guiding our own teams and ensuring the whole restaurant operation runs as smoothly as possible, we are involved in assignment of guests, talking about the restaurant assignment, and that's not an easy task by itself. Is not really as easy as it may sound, because we're talking about, again, depending from the class of ship, from 2,700 guests up to 47,000 guests, or 5,000 on the biggest ships that we have, right? And the frequent challenge that we are facing is that when we have larger parties, larger families traveling together, and we're just learning about it on board that they are traveling together, right? That's one of the challenges that we are facing. Nevertheless, we are always trying our best to make everybody happy and accommodate everybody, and literally turning the whole ship upside down just to make people happy and get them all together. That's what we do. We try our best to provide memorable vacations to our guests, and that's our commitment every single day.
I can tell you, for those of you who follow my company, one of the things we do is large groups. My company actually puts together conventions on board a cruise ship. We're the only companies out there that do that for Carnival. And when we do that, I typically deal with between 500 and 1,000 people.
Wow.
And dining lets me do a little bit of his job, because I get a map of the dining room, and
exactly right.
I have to put my guests where they want to be seated, and I already know who families want to sit with each other, so
Precisely.
I have the ability to do that, and it's really, really tough. I can't imagine what it would be like for thousands of people when you really don't know, other than their booking numbers, who's together and who wants to sit where.
We have some tools at our disposal, right? And then using those particular tools would help us prevent and anticipate certain needs. And we're trying our best, as we said, we're trying our best to avoid any kind of inconvenience from our guests' angle, even before they join the ship.
Let me ask you, do you have a lot of instances where people get on board who couldn't get into the dining option that they wanted?
Oh, every single time, quite a lot, yeah.
And how hard is it to accommodate them? Is it something you can normally do?
Well, I'll share with you on this particular ship right here.
Hold that a little closer.
All right. So what for instance, we're facing an average of 200 requests every single first day of the cruise, and then we start shuffling all these requests, and we try to accommodate everybody according to their desire, so we can make everybody happy. And we go to, like, literally there's nothing we would not do just to make the guests happy and to change them as per their desire.
Do you have software that does most of that
Absolutely.
for you, or do you have to like physically juggle
we
people
do
around?
we do have a software. It's actually called Silverware, and as a matter of fact, we just learned recently that our company had signed a contract with the producers of this software to have a completely new and upgraded version of it, and that's very exciting to hear.
Is that good or bad?
Oh, good, excellent, amazing.
A lot of times change, you know, a lot of people don't like change.
Well, people, I think it's human nature, right, to be reluctant to change, but nevertheless, we've had several changes coming our way especially in the food ops area and in the restaurant service specifically. But a lot of these changes are very encouraging and very promising, and they're all for the best. They're all for the better.
Now, do you also handle like food quality issues as well?
Absolutely. But we are what we call the front of the line, right? So whenever we have guests, any sort of discomfort of our guests, it's mandatory that it becomes our concern, right? And we have to own it until it's sorted out. Regardless, we would not necessarily expect the chef to come and face the guests every single time there is a concern, right? But us being in the front of the house, we definitely have to take ownership of that and liaise with the chef. Not only that, also when we have special dietary requirements or allergies or any sort of needs, we are the ones in the front of the house that have to deal with that issue and liaise with the chef and ensure that our guests receive what they desire and what they need.
I'm here to tell you that, and I'm not just saying this because obviously I love Carnival.
And we love having you here.
I've never had a bad meal on board a cruise ship.
Oh, you're very kind.
I will say that I know that some people can be very unreasonable. I had a guy actually send me a video telling me how bad the food was on his cruise ship, on a Carnival ship. And the funniest part about the video is he was making it at a McDonald's. So I don't think his culinary tastes were quite what he was making them out to be. So how do you deal with that guest where you know that they're just kind of being unrealistic?
Okay, so I'm known to be a very honest person, even if it's bad for me. So let me put it the only way I know, which is straightforward. Now, can we make every single person coming into our home happy? Probably not. But can we try to make every single person happy? Absolutely yes. So that's exactly what we do. We try to identify whenever we deal with guests, which you mentioned they're unreasonable. I don't look at it in that direction necessarily. We need and we have we have the obligation to try to make every single person happy, and we need to identify what exactly their expectations are, and then we try our best to make it happen. You know, that's absolutely mandatory. And to relate to a certain joke that I always make on every single ship that I'm going to, I always pass this particular joke to my team, to my colleagues, to my family, my restaurant family, as I call them. If our guest will ask for a dinosaur steak, our team is not allowed to say, sorry, but dinosaurs do not exist for the last 80 million years. But in the same time, they will not go to the guest and say, how would you like it cooked, medium rare or medium well? They will simply say, let me call my manager. And let me be the one to explain to our guests that, as a matter of fact, dinosaurs do not exist for the last 80 million years. But and the reason for that is quite simple. I have been myself a waiter in Carnival, and before that to pay for my school before that as well for years. So I know very clearly that if we allow ourselves the idea, even 1%, that it's allowed to say no to our guests, this 1% in 2 weeks' time will double up. And in another 2 weeks' time will double up again. And then it's going to become a normality that it's absolutely acceptable to say no to your guests. And in hospitality industry, we should not say no. The word no should not exist. That's what we believe, and I'm proud to say that I'm actually blessed to have such an amazing team which lives through this example every single day.
The dining room staff on board here is, I remember I was just making a video for brunch, and I said it, I've been on lots of cruises, and the dining room staff here was exceptional.
And how much they pay you to say that now?
Nothing. Despite what a lot of you believe, Carnival pays me nothing.
No, but the waiters must have paid you to say that.
I get people all day long telling me Carnival pays me to say good things about them. It's absolutely not true. Yeah. So let's talk about your experience. How long have you been in the hospitality industry?
Well, with Carnival, and Carnival is the only company that I've worked for. With Carnival, I've been for, proud to say, 16 years. I started in 2003 as one of the waiters, and my initial thought was I'm gonna be on board for this contract and this contract alone. I'll buy myself 2 perfumes and 3 T-shirts.
A lot of people tell me that.
Yeah.
It all starts out with one contract.
Yes, and after I get my 2 perfumes and 3 T-shirts, I'll be out the door. I'm out. And here I am 16 years later, and I still didn't get my 2 perfumes and 3 T-shirts.
Did you go to school for hospitality prior to this?
Not necessarily, but back home I was working as a waiter before joining Carnival, but as a matter of fact I graduated from law school, so it has
Really?
nothing to do with hospitality whatsoever.
In case somebody insists on that dinosaur steak, he knows how to get even with those law skills. Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Romania.
Romania.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I've ever met anybody from Romania.
Okay. Nice people.
I can tell. We've been talking about cigars the entire cruise. He's a cigar aficionado as well. So,
Big time.
So, that one question I ask pretty much everybody with stripes on their arm.
Okay.
Best part and worst part of your job.
Okay. The best part. It has nothing to do with the stripes. The best part is just working on board with all these amazing people. You see, we have, in average, from a ship to another, we have between 64 to 70 nationalities. And we make friends from literally every single corner of the world, from all over the world. We make friends. And then the sad part is that we work together, we eat together, we live together pretty much, and then we end up going separately, and we have to keep in touch only through Facebook. That's one of the sad parts. There are very few unpleasant experiences here on board, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are saying it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but it becomes a way of life, and once you assimilate this way of life and it becomes part of who you are, I think the overall the people who experience working on cruise ships, they're probably the best employees anybody can ever have. I do believe that, because once you manage to live this lifestyle and get this sort of job accomplished, you're capable to work anywhere in the world, and we really have some quality people working here with us.
Do you consider yourself working in the hospitality industry, or do you consider yourself a mariner?
I love the hospitality part. I love that part specifically. And I love the sea. I love the sea. Even back home, I live by the sea. You see, my wife is from Colombia, and we live in Colombia, and she's from a Colombian island. It's called San Andres, and with sea view, and the ocean is amazing. And so I feel at home when I'm on board. I feel at home when I'm going home as well. So
that's got to be the hardest part of the job, is the family aspect.
That's the only difficult part, because many of us, it is true, we have families on board, meaning husbands and wives and so on, but many of us have our families back home. So I have my wife and my little baby back home, and that's the only difficult part of this job, leaving the family behind and having to sacrifice that to be away for 6, 7 or 8 months at a time. That's the only challenging part of this.
I can imagine. Well, Facebook and
absolutely
iPhones, and being able to see each other and
exactly. Luckily nowadays, with technology, we can we can communicate at a different level, right? But when I started working 16 years ago, we had to go we have to go outside in ports and be stuck to a landline phone on the wall for a couple of hours and talking home with everybody. So now we're lucky with all this progress that we can actually make our life easier.
Very cool. So I want to thank you very much for not only the hospitality, but for also sitting down with us today.
It's a pleasure.
My videos get millions and millions of views every month. So I want to tell all of you, next time you're on board, if you're in Stefan's beautiful restaurant, don't say hi to him right away. Go to your waiter and order a dinosaur steak. And see how many people we can get on here ordering dinosaur steaks.
And I know who's going to be responsible for that.
Thank you very much.
No, it's a pleasure. Always.
I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time up on the Lido deck.
Bye, everyone.